We did a lot of traveling. Lots of people, saw lots of beautiful churches, and we moved back here to San Antonio, Texas being our home state, and started to look into adoption because we have always wanted to adopt. We got certified to adopt a child with special needs. More specifically, we were looking for a child with Down syndrome. He has been just so perfect for our family. He's such a joy, and all the kids love him so much.
I'm Brian Smith. I'm a veterinarian in the United States Army. I've been in the Army for 21 years. I grew up in Houston, and my parents were newly Christian when I was born, and so I was raised in the Southern Baptist faith. I went to a Christian school, the same school for my whole life, which is where I graduated. My freshman year at Texas A&M is where I met Kelle at a Bible study.
Hi, my name is Kelle Smith, and I was born in Duncanville, Texas, 1979, and I was raised in the Baptist church and also kind of bounced between that church and a Bible church, like kind of a non-denominational church. I guess that when I met my husband, we were just starting out at A&M, at Texas A&M, and we had not gotten involved in a lot of things yet.
I saw her, the light was shining down from the heavens. She, I don't think, noticed me.
No, I noticed.
Not necessarily looking for a girlfriend, but when I first met her, she was beautiful and she struck me. And I guess I was 18, and so I don't know that I had considered what type of woman I was looking for. However, I came to realize what type of wife that I wanted by getting to know her. She loved the Lord above everything. And the thing that she wanted most was to be a mother. I did want to have a family. Then I was thinking that I would ideally have 2 children, the boy and girl kind of stereotype.
Then we started dating pretty soon after that. He started just walking me home from the Bible study every night, and we started dating and dated for all of college. And I quickly decided within that first year that I did not want to actually be a veterinarian when I heard about what the lifestyle would be and how I just wanted to stay home and take care of my kids, and that seemed like a whole lot of work to put into to a degree that I may not use long term. So I ended up staying with the same major and kind of making an alternate plan. And Brian proposed at the end of my junior year, and we got married right after he graduated and before he went to vet school. So he got into vet school, and we got married in a Baptist church.
My sophomore year, I met somebody who would become my best friend, who was also a former Southern Baptist. He had relatively recently converted to Catholicism. I had never met any Catholics, so he was the first. And so I would just ask him different questions about the differences between the Southern Baptist tradition and the Catholic tradition. And I found over several years of just as our friendship grew and just talking with him, that I became the Catholic faith, my thinking and my faith life aligned more and more with what I was learning about the Catholic faith. For me, the defining moment when I knew that this was what God was calling me to, and it was scary because I was, I think, either close to engagement or engaged with Kelle already, and so she was definitely not interested in Catholicism at that point.
Brian had already started his journey towards Catholicism, but I was very resistant at that time to it. And within the next 3 years before we had our first child, I started looking into the Catholic Church.
She almost didn't marry me when she found out some of how far I had started crossing the Tiber River. But I promised that I thought God, if he wanted us to be Catholic, he would call us to go together. And so...
and I thought that would never happen. So I was like, okay.
About 3 years after we were married, she was pregnant. We both became Catholic. So I was happy with, I wanted a boy and a girl, and that was it. But then once we started our journey towards the church and learned about natural family planning, learned about God's plan for families, how the family is the little church. He opened both of our hearts to have as many kids as he wanted us to have. So after we entered the church in 2004, that was Easter. Kelle was pregnant with our first.
Is our oldest. She's 18. She just graduated. She is super responsible, and she's also going to Texas A&M, back to where we met and where she was born. And she's going to be a fourth generation Aggie, and she draws dog portraits for kind of like a side job. She has several jobs actually, but that's one thing she does is she draws personalized dog portraits and sells them.
Genevieve is our 17-year-old next daughter. She was born and was able to be baptized into the church where we converted in College Station. I guess the peacemaker of the family. And then she goes around and hugs all the rest of her siblings, whether they like it or not.
Yes.
And she's going to be a senior this year.
She does watercoloring.
Soon after that, I finished veterinary school, and at that time I was in the Army Reserves, and so I went active duty, and so we started our military journey. Our first stop was upstate New York. After that, we moved to Germany, where we lived for 3 years. From there, I deployed twice to Africa and Iraq. And we had our third child there, our oldest son, Isaac. He got to be baptized in Germany, and later on, when we went back to Germany, he had his first communion in Europe.
He is very into music, loves playing the guitar and the piano. And he is homeschooling 10th grade this year.
So after that tour in Germany, we moved to Washington, D.C., where I started my residency. And there we had our 3 more boys. Andrew is our next son. He is an expert entertainer on long trips. He is very responsible. He loves to play basketball and
and Legos.
Oh yeah, Legos. So he is our master Lego builder, physically creative, as far as, so maybe he'll be an engineer someday, I don't know.
And he's starting 6th grade.
And then we had Benjamin and Bobby. both in DC.
Benjamin Judah goes by Judah most of the time. He is going into 5th grade, and he is so sweet.
He's been an expert hug giver since he was little.
Yeah.
So Bobby is our next son.
Bobby is also really into music and has a gift for the piano. He is surpassing some of his older brothers. Don't tell them. So he's Catholic famous, I guess, because he got to touch the Pope, which most people I don't think are supposed to touch the Pope.
Right, yeah. And he spent about 30 seconds talking with Bobby, and
Bobby touched his
pectoral cross. Yeah. So anyway, so the Vatican photographers got a really good shot of it, and it ended up being on the Pope's Instagram.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Good job. There you go. Take a bite. How's the ice cream? Try it out.
And then there's Roman. We did a lot of traveling, lots of people, saw lots of beautiful churches, and we moved back here to San Antonio, Texas being our home state. Started to look into adoption because we have always wanted to adopt, and we got certified to adopt a child with special needs. More specifically, we were looking for a child with Down syndrome. The reason for that is somewhat multifaceted, I guess, and we thought one of our kids, we had been told one of our children in utero would have Down syndrome possibly, and then it turned out he didn't. And so I kind of had mentally prepared myself and gotten actually excited about the prospect a little bit because my mom was a special ed teacher. My best friend growing up had a sister with Down syndrome. I had a good amount of experience. And so that was part of it. Actually, the night we found out we weren't getting one of those 4, which we had it had drug on a while, and we had talked to the family, we met them in person, and then we were really expecting to get that baby, and we found out we were not getting him, and some of the kids were sad, and we were kind of sitting down.
A lot of hopeless kind of feeling by that point.
Yeah, we were starting to get discouraged and think, is this really what God wants for us? And what are we going to do if it's not? And that sort of thing. But I mean, we only had time to be in that moment for about 5 minutes. And we got another phone call, and they said that another family had chosen us, that we had forgotten we had even submitted for that one because we were really so focused on this one that was ongoing for so long. And so it was a very interesting night because we'd kind of gotten attached to this other baby who was already born and in the NICU, and we'd kind of gotten emotionally attached to him. But we just God has a plan, and we didn't know what it was. But
about 2 days later, we were in his home state, and he was ours. So.
Yeah.
And it took another year for all the legal part of it to be completed, but he's been with us for
just since he was 1 month old.
Yeah, and so for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, he's about to be 2 in this coming month. And so
Roman, and he did have a very serious heart condition. So when he was 6 months old, he had to have open heart surgery, and then some later complications. I guess almost a year later, he had complications from that surgery. And so through a 6-month period of multiple surgeries, I don't know, 6 or 7 surgeries, almost 2 months in the ICU with him. That brought all of our family together. The older kids really stepped up. They, helping at home, cooking, our old ones can drive, so, taking them back and forth from school while we were, switching off back and forth in the hospital with him. And for a while, it was kind of open-ended. We thought, there was a possibility. We weren't sure what was going to happen. We didn't know if he was going to be able to survive these complications. But so I would say, that really strengthened our faith. People all over the world praying for us. She kept a update online for people, so we would run into people that we'd never met before and say, "Oh, we've been praying for you," or.
Hi, I'm Isaac Smith, and I am almost 15, and I'm going into 10th grade. And I like to play piano and guitar for this little guy. And I love playing with my baby brother and teaching him new signs and how to say my name. Can you say Isaac? Isaac. There you go. And I love being in a big family because it helps us to learn patience and to appreciate things more.
I am a rising senior, and so I've been trying to decide what to do in college, but since we adopted Roman, I've been thinking about working with kids with special needs. I've shadowed for some of his therapy appointments, and those seem like really cool jobs, so he's helped me with that.
And he's probably just 100% just full of joy. So his joy spreads through all of the family. Pretty much, he smiles, I don't know, I'd say 98% of his day. And so if pretty much everybody else is smiling. If the kids had a bad day or one of us, had a bad day, you just come home and there he is smiling and happy.
Yeah, he's an emotional regulator.
Yeah. So he definitely brings the joy level up.
All those cupcakes. So. What was it that you ate that was cutie pants?
We have fun. We've got to do a lot of different things, live a lot of different places, and we always try to have fun, try to find the joy in that, try to find the blessings that God has through those experiences.
Yeah, I think having a big family, I was the oldest of 3 children, and I think having a bigger family, I know 3 is, I guess, a big for an average family, but having a bigger family, there's just always stuff going on. It's so fun and keeps me, I like to be busy. I don't like to just sit around and do nothing. So I enjoy all the chaos to some extent. It's sanctifying too, I would say. They definitely all help each other to grow in just learning how to share, learning how to live with other people, learning how to help with chores and community work. And so I think it's really good for everybody.
Yeah, they all help with the cooking. They all fight each other to help with the baby, to feed him, put him to bed, that kind of thing, to watch him.
And I think the sacrifice of not always getting what you want or all of the dessert to yourself, maybe sometimes there's only a little bit and we have to split it all up into 6 pieces right now because Roman doesn't eat much, but they're all very used to that, so.
The Son and the Holy Spirit.
We definitely try to have dinner together every night that we are able to. We have some older kids that are busy sometimes with work schedules and things, but every night that we can,
which we've always done.
Yes, we've always had
no matter
dinner
where
together.
we've lived, we've always had dinner together. We a lot of games. They're big on playing games, so we have a lot of family games. It was difficult, obviously, if I had to be away for a year at a time, and it was much harder on her, obviously, being at home alone with the kids. But she never wavered. She has always supported me.
More of the heart, like Brian and I, we complement each other in a lot of ways, and I'm more of the heart of the marriage, I guess. And when the kids are hurt, it's mommy's comforting, and daddy's teaching them how to tough it up, which both have value. And he's just been a great leader. And he's provided for our family, been able to adopt a baby and I'm just so pleased.
She's always, sacrificed everything for the family, for the children, and for me. So we definitely would not be the family that we are without her. I try to remind the kids, because it's easy for them to kind of take it for granted and that's one of my big things is, be grateful to your mom, because she's the one that sacrifices, everything for us and has since, the first one of you was born.
With him and with the life that God's given me, even though this year has not been an easy year with Roman being in the hospital so much, and no mother wants to see her kid suffer, and it doesn't matter though.
Since we both converted, we both worked really hard intellectually and spiritually through that process. So it wasn't something that we just learned as obviously we were both Christians, but there's a lot more that we discovered in Catholicism that we had to work through. So we've always wanted to make sure that the kids understand their faith. They know why we do what we do, why we go to Mass, why we pray, learning about the saints, why the saints are important as examples for us. So fortunately, Kelly's been able to homeschool, so she's had a very robust religious program at home. So they've really been, learning the faith their whole lives through our homeschool experience. We've, living all over, we've had a lot of different churches we've been to. The church we're at now, faith is always incorporated. We're always, Mass is part of it, a lot of time, able to go to adoration. So it's nice to see, I think for them, a bunch of fathers with their friends doing all this together. They see, this is good. It's an example of, hey, it's not just my dad that makes me do it. It's all of us. We're all a community.
Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Well, I would say waiting for a baby and being in that, we're excited and we think we're getting a baby, but then we're not getting a baby. All of those ups and downs really was a chance for us to grow in our faith and my prayer for sure is always, Jesus, I trust in you, that I remind myself that God has a bigger plan and he knows things that I don't know. And Roman, who is what we named our baby.
And your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it.
He has been just so perfect for our family. He's such a joy, and all the kids love him so much.
We are the Smith family.
And we are joyfully big.
My life is a miracle. Every child has a story of God's love to share. Shalom world, tune into God's love story.